Well, there's a range there between can drop it in and it can do anything and needs to be hard coded to lift a box. So can you just, for me, who's not spending every day in the lab, in the warehouse, watching these things grow and develop, how far along is Apollo 2 compared to, I don't know, a human laborer in a warehouse setting or in, say, a factory setting?
So I think the days of hard coding something to pick up a box, those days are over, right? So we have reached this inflection point, not just in humanoid robotics, but in robotics as a whole, to where it's very clear that learning is going to be the future. So really, that's why there's so much excitement and or hype, depending on how you think about it, is because there's this paradigm shift in the way that we can train robots all together, and learning is clearly the winner in the new paradigm. I think what we're working on now is as we get the ability to do these tasks, we're starting to climb the ladder towards task mastery out in the wild. So can we actually start to do these tasks at the same rate that a human can do them? And in that, it depends on the task that we're working on. So we're working on a range of different tasks, and we're not as fast as a human today. So I'm not
Yeah.
going to make that claim. There's narrow portions of a task or a use case that we can start to approach parity with humans. But if you look at the range of things that are involved in even a single use case, we can't do everything at rate for a human. And so this is the work that we're doing, is we're climbing this ladder of performance towards
Jeff,
task mastery.
does it matter if a humanoid robot can be at parity with humans for a task at speed? Because my thinking is if you can take a humanoid robot and plop it in where you had a human, it can work not 24 hours a day, but call it 22 hours of the day. So like
Yeah.
it has more capacity to do more total time at work. So does it need to be at the same kind of speed parity?
No, it doesn't. That's a great point. I think that's something that some folks get confused about. No, it doesn't. It depends on the application, though. So, at the end of the day, it's simple ROI math, right? Is how
Yeah.
much does the robot cost relative to what you're paying today to do a task? And then what's the rate of that system? And you're just going to do a calculation to determine, is the ROI better and sort of moving to this new technology, or should we stick to the same thing we're doing today? In many cases, the interesting thing is that businesses don't have that decision to make because there's a massive labor shortage. So they don't, this idea of, do I stick with what I have today? It's like, well, I have a huge shortage and this is a big challenge and a big pain. And so
Yeah.
this shift towards technology to humanoids is very interesting. But some of these tasks run already today 3 shifts a day. So they're
Mhm.
running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So there's not that bleed over time that you're talking about, where if the robot was half the price, you could put, less robots and let it run, more robots and let it run longer. So it depends on the application, but there are plenty of applications that might be 2 shifts a day where you could let the robots run longer, or you could throw more robots at the application, have twice the robots running, and you could still accomplish the same effective amount of work. So yeah, that's interesting.